what would be the point? Why would anyone be trying to take away my self sovereignty? What makes me so special? The other day, I forgot what my middle name was. I can't imagine what anyone would possibly want with me. I used to think I would be put on some list. You know, a certain kind of list that all the bad boys would be put on. But now, I'm not so sure. Nowadays, I think there's more than one list, maybe even a collection of them. There's a list for people who are a problem, a list for those who will never be an issue, a list for people who have the potential to be a problem, a list for people on multiple lists, and many more. I would certainly have my name on one of the most pitiful of lists, the list of those who don't have the courage to be, the collection of millions of unclaimed souls, those whose only consistent trait was having inconsistent beliefs. At one point in our timeline did it all go wrong? I personally cannot claim to be a saint, but surely I was no villain. Who gets the final judgment anyway? Do you remember playing the game of telephone as a child? Oh, I'm sure you do. It was a simple practice in basically all childhoods. The game is quite simple actually. You get a group of people together and arrange them in a line. The first person will receive a series of sentences in which he has to relay to the best of his abilities. Once the information is received, the person will pass it on to the next, and the process repeats until the last person has been spoken to. By the time the message has made its way to the end of the line, the message does not resemble the original and is fully distorted. The passed down message may have a couple of similarities depending on the recall skills of each participant. However, the game is entirely dependent upon the trust the players have in each other to be truthful. If you are a little mischievous, you could easily swap out the message for one with no relation. I could never help myself personally. The temptation to change "This meeting will start at 10 a.m. in the gymnasium. Please be 5 minutes early in your seats, ready to go," to "The pizza party will start at 6 p.m. in the torture chamber. Please be 2 minutes late and ready to party." It was way too strong. The realization that I can have such strong influence over communication was exciting in my youth. Now in my later years, I'm frightened. Is it really this easy to alter communication among the general public? Has this already occurred? Is this still occurring? The biggest concern looking back was not the amount of times I was able to swindle the masses, but how easily I was able to do it. Now, don't get me wrong, I wasn't some young prodigy manipulator with a silver tongue. As a matter of fact, I was singled out at an alarming rate as the deceiver. The times where no one was the wiser, I felt like I could do it again. No one would question the outcome. We just laughed at the results and moved on. Was it this easy to fool people? Am I just as manipulated as the rest? What makes me so special? Is history just one game of telephone? How often do we question the source of truth? Out of everything that has ever been taught to me, what is real? How much of my education, values, and beliefs were shaped by a crank caller on the line? This has to be affecting others as well, right? It would be strange if I was the only target in mind when rewriting our collective timeline. If I, single-handedly, was able to divert a small group with just my voice, imagine what a concentrated central force could achieve with modern technology. Can you picture the lies that have been kept, maintained, and disguised as truth? What value is there in changing history? Altering history eliminates the ability to recognize oppression. Haven't you read 1984 yet? Without a record of good, how could we ever replicate or reference it? If the data is inaccurate, the only answers produced will be inaccurate as well. If you are not able to learn from your data, you will be doomed to repeat all your mistakes again. We have been fed a pre-manufactured script. We have accepted it, and now we are slowly being led to our defeat. When was the last time you questioned the status quo? Why do we celebrate holidays? Why do we create life only to place its education in the hands of a trusted group, trusting that they will cultivate the mind we brought into the world? What does being educated even mean? What qualifies information worthy enough to be taught? Who came up with this? Who keeps passing it on? Why? And please listen carefully, viewer. I wish I had the answers to these questions, but I don't. I will leave you with my beliefs, though. There is strength in numbers. This is common knowledge. You are being motioned in various directions, with hope that you will not be able to unify with like-minded people. We all know what happens when the majority rallies for one cause. The job gets done. Now ask yourself, what is the job that they don't want done?